Now the film's essentially finished, and it's been your first experience making a feature film. If you had it to do again, is there anything you'd do differently and why?
And I do a hell of a lot differently. I do a lot differently.
We can can it if you want. It's getting a little crazy.
But I mean, that's what happens with your first film, though, right? Is that you go through an insane learning curve that you can only go through that curve by being thrown into the sort of the meat grinder and coming out on the other side. I picked something that wasn't conventional, which made things more difficult.
Okay, so this is the Park Road Post in New Zealand. Now this is, of course, you can see how fancy this is. That's very big, mixing desk. This is, of course, where they did Lord of the Rings.
I'm Dave Whitehead doing sound design for District9, and I'm just playing around with the exosuit at the moment, which is the robot that Wikus jumps in at the end of the film. So been playing with all sorts of noises, from steam trains to truck air brakes to pitch down typewriters to Air Force, Orion, hydraulics.
Hi, I'm Brent. I'm one of the two supervisors on the job. There's Chris Ward who's supervising dialogue, and I'm doing the effects, all the kind of physical effects and kind of sound design and that kind of stuff, just kind of overseeing that all that material gets done for the final mix. The crew that we have is essentially, as in normal films, is broken down into editors, designers, Foley people and kind of assistants.
We're also doing the Alien at the moment, trying to base the aliens around insects more than mammals, so getting more, I guess, insecty type sounds and crabs, sort of, if a crab could talk, what would it say to you?
There's your name at the top. Christopher Johnson. There's, you're gonna put your
You see, like, you see how well that works?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like, it's so awesome. Like, he's saying yes, and it's like, you just get it. Like, the alien said that.
Totally.
And it's like, with some of the other stuff, you lose that, because it's like, oh, there's all of these different things happening.
Well, what that is bringing the speech to the forefront.
Yeah.
So that is actually pushing the human speech component, which I guess we're just going to find the happy balance between that, you know, getting it at the right level, so it sounds like the dominant thing, especially for him, I guess, is one of the main things.
Put your scroll on the bottom there. See, there's your name at the top. Christopher Johnson. There's, you're gonna put your name at the bottom.
And we've got a fairly smallish crew on this kind of show, which is, we've got Dave Whitehead on sound design, who's kind of incredibly prolific and fantastic kind of insect maker. And we've got two effects editors, Mel and Hayden, who no doubt you'll meet. And I'm kind of in a supervisory role, and because this job's so kind of guerrilla-like in terms of its kind of makeup, everybody's pretty much kind of jumping on in terms of all hands to the pump, and so I'm doing quite a lot of cutting on this job as well.
So which one is this?
So that is literally rubbing a pumpkin. So it just sounds... When I was recording the pumpkins, I was standing alone in a room with a butternut, which is a very long sort of gourd-shaped pumpkin, held by my groin, rubbing it gently when someone looked through the window, and it did look a bit strange because I don't think they saw the pumpkin. The other thing was we were thinking about different African languages, and also the language that has the clicks and that sort of thing, so we're putting mandible clicks as well, clicks and chops and bonks and... Now this is a frog caller, which is pretty much this little dude.
Watching the edit come together was, I'd actually say, even almost more exciting than the pre-production. It was every time it would change.
This is very exciting from an editing point of view because it makes the editing such a crucial part of telling the story. But it also makes it very labor intensive because of the amount of material coming in, and you're not always executing something that's a very specific thing. Sometimes it becomes something else, so you're kind of finding it through the kind of editing process.
Editing this film was very difficult. I mean, just because of the volume of footage that we have. We have an insane amount of footage. And in certain cases, you know, you're going between documentary stuff and cinematic stuff. You can't just play a whole bunch of documentary real-life footage for the audience and then just slam them into a cinematic scene. You have to kind of find the flow within that. And that took a long time to get that to work properly. And then also just going through the hours and hours and hours of different types of documentary footage that we had. We had so much footage.
As much as we're using improv and stuff like that, the script was very well conceived and well structured. So at the same time, you always have a kind of blueprint you're going back to. And as far as things like the security cameras and stuff like that, that makes my assistant editor's lives more difficult because it's yet another format to deal with. But for me, it's just kind of another interesting perspective on the scene. It's an interesting project because it's got a message. You know, obviously there's stuff in there about race and xenophobia.
District9 certainly doesn't ram any themes or morals down anyone's throats, but it at its heart, it does have interesting questions that are raised about the way people view each other, especially other cultures.
I suppose the interesting thing for me about making the film has been asking the question of what would really happen, you know, what would I really do in this situation? And it raises that question of deciding, well, how different does someone need to be from you, or a species, or something, for you to allow them to affect your life directly?
I think, if anything, just to make a film that's engaging as your first film was what I was hoping to achieve.
That film is Neil growing up in South Africa, loving the films that he loved and being in that environment.
This was not an easy process. There was a lot of stressful moments for me, for sure. You can go through that level of pressure and that level of stress, which ultimately is forced upon myself only because you're asking yourself, is this good? Am I making something that's worthwhile? That's the only place the pressure comes from, really.
The way that this whole film came out of this little short is pretty amazing. You know, it's sort of gone far past anything I think any of us expected.
It's very much centered around Johannesburg, around the political situation that existed in Johannesburg in the apartheid era, and Neil grew up during that period of time.
It's probably, personally, I think, one of the biggest challenges that still faces the entire planet. It's still something that people haven't quite realized what challenges will still lie ahead in this area of understanding differences, of what differences to accept, what differences to reject, how, as we become one global community, what's going to get washed out, what's going to stay.
Looking at the film now, I'm pretty proud of how much imagery I had in my head prior to going into the film, what I've actually gotten as far as the final product goes, but I still wish there was more. And hopefully I can take what I've learned and implement that in film 2 and kind of, refine the process. But there is an insane amount of learning that happened on this film, believe me.